In a recent twist in the ongoing legal saga surrounding Josh Duggar, the former reality TV star has formally requested that the court appoint an attorney to represent him due to financial hardship. This development marks a significant shift in the case, as Duggar, once known for his prominent role on the TLC show 19 Kids and Counting, now finds himself navigating serious federal charges related to child pornography. The motion was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Arkansas, where Duggar is currently facing a 4-count indictment alleging receipt and possession of child pornography. The request for a court-appointed lawyer suggests that Duggar and his family may no longer have the financial resources to retain private counsel, a stark contrast to the family's public image during their years in the spotlight. Josh Duggar, the eldest son of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, first made headlines in 2015 when past allegations of child molestation surfaced. At the time, he was working as the executive director of the Family Research Council, a conservative advocacy group based in Washington, D.C. following the revelation of the decades-old misconduct involving multiple underage girls, including several of his sisters. Duggar resigned from his position at FRC. Though no criminal charges were filed in connection with those incidents, the fallout was immediate and severe. The Duggar family's reality show was canceled by TLC, and the family largely retreated from public life. However, the legal troubles for Josh Duggar did not end there. In April 2021, federal authorities arrested Duggar following the unsealing of a grand jury indictment charging him with 2 counts of receiving child pornography and 2 counts of possessing child pornography. According to court documents, investigators discovered that Duggar had used file-sharing software in 2019 that allowed access to illicit material. Law enforcement agents executed a search warrant at his home in Springdale, Arkansas, and seized electronic devices for forensic analysis. Since his arrest, Duggar has been released on bond under strict conditions, including restrictions on internet usage, regular check-ins with pretrial services, and the surrender of his passport. His defense team initially consisted of high-profile attorneys who had previously represented members of the Duggar family in media-related matters. However, recent filings indicate that Duggar is now seeking the appointment of a public defender or other court-appointed counsel. In the motion submitted to the court, Duggar claims that he has exhausted his personal funds and can no longer afford to pay for private legal representation. The filing includes detailed financial disclosures, outlining his income, assets, and liabilities. According to the motion, Duggar and his wife, Anna Duggar, have 5 children and are currently relying on support from family members to meet basic living expenses. Their primary source of income reportedly comes from book royalties and speaking engagements, though these have significantly declined since the scandal broke in 2015. Under the 6th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, every defendant in a criminal case has the right to legal representation. If a defendant cannot afford an attorney, the court must appoint one at government expense. However, eligibility for court-appointed counsel is determined by the court based on the defendant's financial situation. To qualify, defendants must demonstrate that they lack sufficient financial resources to hire a private attorney without undue hardship. Courts typically consider factors such as income, employment status, assets, debts, and family obligations. While wealthier individuals may be required to pay for their own defense, those with limited means may receive free or subsidized legal assistance. In Duggar's case, the court will need to review the financial documentation he provided and determine whether he meets the criteria for indigency. If approved, the court would assign an attorney from the Federal Public Defender's Office or another qualified legal professional to represent him. It is worth noting that even if Duggar qualifies for court-appointed counsel, this does not necessarily mean he will be completely relieved of all legal costs. Some jurisdictions require defendants to reimburse the government for legal fees if they are later found to have financial resources that could have covered part of the expense. Duggar's decision to seek a court-appointed attorney raises several questions about his current financial state and the broader implications for his legal strategy. On one hand, it may reflect genuine economic hardship, particularly given the loss of income following the collapse of the Duggar family brand. On the other hand, some observers speculate that the move could be tactical, aimed at shifting public perception or reducing legal costs in a high-stakes federal prosecution. From a legal standpoint, court-appointed attorneys are often highly experienced and well-versed in federal criminal law. In fact, many public defenders handle complex cases and achieve favorable outcomes for their clients. However, defendants who opt for appointed counsel may face limitations in terms of resources and caseloads compared to private firms. Additionally, the change in legal representation could signal a shift in Duggar's approach to the case. Private attorneys might have pursued aggressive defense strategies or negotiated plea deals behind closed doors, while public defenders may take a more measured or procedural approach depending on the circumstances. The charges against Duggar carry serious consequences. Under federal law, possession and receipt of child pornography are felonies punishable by lengthy prison sentences, mandatory bad offender registration, and substantial fines. Each count of receipt carries a minimum sentence of 5 years and up to 20 years in prison, while possession charges carry a minimum of 5 years and a maximum of 20 years per count. Prosecutors are likely to argue that Duggar knowingly accessed and distributed illegal content, thereby violating federal statutes designed to protect children from exploitation. The use of peer-to-peer file-sharing networks is often scrutinized in such cases because these platforms can facilitate the exchange of illicit materials. Defense attorneys, whether privately retained or court-appointed, may challenge the evidence presented by the prosecution, question the methods used to obtain the data, or argue that the accused did not intentionally engage in illegal activity. However, given the nature of digital forensics and the strength of federal investigations, mounting a successful defense in such cases can be extremely difficult. As expected, Duggar's latest legal maneuver has reignited intense public interest and debate. Social media platforms have been flooded with reactions from both supporters and critics of the Duggar family. Supporters argue that Duggar deserves a fair trial and should not be judged solely based on past allegations or media sensationalism. Critics, meanwhile, emphasize the gravity of the charges and call for accountability regardless of his background or previous transgressions. Religious and conservative groups that once championed the Duggar's values-based lifestyle have largely distanced themselves from the family in recent years. Many within these communities have expressed disappointment and concern over how the situation reflects on their broader cultural messaging around purity, accountability, and transparency. Media outlets continue to follow the case closely, with legal analysts offering insights into potential outcomes and courtroom dynamics. Given the high-profile nature of the case, any developments, whether related to legal representation, plea negotiations, or trial proceedings, are likely to attract national attention. With Duggar's request for court-appointed counsel now before the judge, the next step will involve a formal determination of his eligibility. If granted, the court will assign an attorney to take over his defense. If denied, Duggar will be expected to secure new private representation or proceed pro se, which is generally discouraged in federal criminal cases. In the meantime, the case continues to move forward through the judicial system. Pretrial motions, discovery exchanges, and potential settlement discussions between the prosecution and defense are likely occurring behind the scenes. A trial date has yet to be set, but legal experts anticipate that the process could extend into 2023 or beyond. Regardless of the outcome, the case serves as a sobering reminder of the long-term consequences of criminal behavior, the complexities of legal representation, and the enduring power of public scrutiny in shaping narratives around justice and redemption. Josh Duggar's request for a court-appointed attorney underscores the evolving nature of his legal battle and the challenges he faces as a defendant in a high-profile federal case. Whether driven by financial necessity or strategic calculation, the move brings renewed attention to the intersection of celebrity, criminal justice, and constitutional rights. As the legal proceedings unfold, the public will continue to watch closely, weighing the facts, the law, and the broader societal implications of the case. In a rare and deeply personal letter addressed to the court, Josh Duggar has provided one of the most detailed accounts of his life in prison since his sentencing in 2021. This letter offers a glimpse into the emotional and psychological toll that incarceration has taken on him, as well as his ongoing efforts to maintain family ties amid the challenges he faces. The former reality TV star, who was once a prominent figure on TLC's 19 Kids and Counting, is currently serving a 12-year federal sentence for possessing child pornography. Since his conviction, Duggar has largely remained out of the public eye, making this letter a significant moment in understanding his current state of mind. Duggar expressed profound gratitude for the visits from his wife, Anna, which have become a source of comfort and motivation during what he describes as the darkest chapter of his life. He emphasized the importance of these moments, noting how they provide him with hope and a sense of normalcy amidst the isolation of prison life. The emotional weight of being separated from his 5 children also resonates throughout the letter, as he details the significance of regular phone calls, letters, and occasional video visits in maintaining those vital familial connections. These interactions, he explained, are not only comforting but essential for his mental health and overall rehabilitation journey. The tone of the letter is both reflective and earnest, with Duggar acknowledging the severity of his crimes and reiterating his remorse. He stated that he fully accepts responsibility for his actions, recognizing that his mistakes can never be undone. However, he is determined to work every day to become a better man, not just for himself, but for his family. This commitment to self-improvement is evident in his participation in educational programs and counseling sessions aimed at addressing his past behavior. Duggar described these initiatives as critical components of his rehabilitation, allowing him to confront the underlying issues that contributed to his actions. In addition to discussing his efforts toward personal growth, Duggar touched upon the challenges of prison life, describing it as isolating and difficult, particularly during holidays or birthdays when he cannot physically be with loved ones. Despite these hardships, he tries to focus on self-improvement and staying grounded through faith and routine. He credited religious study and work assignments within the prison with helping him structure his days and maintain a sense of normalcy. This structured environment allows him to reflect on his past while striving for a better future. Duggar's letter was submitted to the judge overseeing a civil lawsuit filed by one of his victims, Victim 1, whose identity remains protected. While the letter was not specifically written in response to the lawsuit, it was included in the broader legal proceedings. Legal experts suggest that Duggar may be attempting to demonstrate accountability and personal growth, which could be relevant in various legal contexts, including potential future appeals or parole considerations. However, they caution that such efforts do not erase the harm caused or mitigate the seriousness of the offense. Public reaction to the letter has been mixed. Some view it as a genuine attempt at redemption, noting that Duggar is serving his full sentence without early release options and is making efforts to rehabilitate himself. Others, however, remain critical, arguing that words alone are insufficient, and that true accountability involves long-term behavioral change. Victims' advocacy groups have also weighed in, emphasizing that while personal reflection is important, the focus should remain on supporting survivors and ensuring justice. They stress that incarcerated individuals often write letters like this for strategic reasons, whether for legal benefit or public image management. For the Duggar family, this letter serves as another moment in their long journey of navigating the aftermath of Josh's crimes. Anna Duggar has spoken publicly about the pain and betrayal she experienced, yet she has maintained her commitment to her husband, citing their shared faith and belief in forgiveness. Their children, now older and more aware of the situation, continue to be shielded from media scrutiny as much as possible. This latest development comes amid continued interest in the Duggar family's story, which has captivated and divided audiences for years. From their rise to fame on 19 Kids and counting to the scandal surrounding Josh's criminal past, the family has faced intense public scrutiny. Since the show ended in 2016, the Duggars have attempted to lead a quieter life, though periodic updates involving Josh's legal status continue to draw attention. The revelation of Duggar's letter also raises questions about the nature of punishment, rehabilitation, and public perception. In a society increasingly focused on restorative justice and second chances, Duggar's case sits uncomfortably in the gray area between accountability and forgiveness. His crime was severe, and the damage done cannot be easily measured or undone. Yet, as he serves his sentence, the question lingers: can someone truly change? As the legal process continues, Duggar's words will likely be analyzed and debated by many. For now, the letter offers a rare glimpse into the mind of a man who once lived under the glare of television cameras, and now finds himself in a very different kind of spotlight, one defined by silence, solitude, and the slow path toward redemption. In conclusion, Josh Duggar's recent letter provides a rare and candid look at his current state of mind and the realities of his life in prison. It underscores his attempts to maintain family relationships, accept responsibility for his. Throughout the letter, Josh Duggar repeatedly emphasizes the difficulty of adjusting to life behind bars. He described prison as an isolating and emotionally draining experience, one that forces him to confront the consequences of his actions on a daily basis. "There are days where I feel like time stands still," he wrote, explaining that the monotony of prison life is punctuated by moments of deep introspection. He acknowledged that his past decisions have led to his current circumstances, and admitted that there is no easy way to undo the damage he has caused. Despite the hardships, Duggar insisted that he is committed to using his time in prison constructively. He detailed his participation in various rehabilitative programs, including cognitive behavioral therapy and addiction recovery meetings, which he believes are crucial to his personal growth. He also mentioned taking advantage of educational opportunities within the facility, enrolling in courses that help develop practical skills and encourage self-reflection. According to Duggar, these programs have allowed him to examine the root causes of his past behavior and take meaningful steps toward becoming a better person. One of the most striking aspects of the letter is Duggar's acknowledgement of the emotional toll his incarceration takes on his family. He spoke candidly about the heartbreak of missing milestones in his children's lives and the struggle of watching them grow up from afar. He noted that while technology such as video calls helps bridge the physical distance, nothing replaces the warmth of a real embrace or the ability to be present for his children in everyday moments. He described these absences as some of the hardest parts of his sentence, reinforcing his determination to stay connected despite the limitations imposed by prison regulations. Duggar also reflected on the role of faith in his daily life, stating that his spiritual beliefs continue to provide him with strength and guidance. He described reading religious texts, engaging in prayer, and participating in chapel services as sources of comfort. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I believe in the power of redemption," he wrote, suggesting that his faith plays a central role in shaping his mindset and approach to rehabilitation. He further emphasized that he does not seek pity or leniency, but rather wants to demonstrate that he is actively working to improve himself for the sake of his family and the broader community. While the letter conveys a sense of sincerity in Duggar's efforts to reform, legal analysts have pointed out that such statements must be viewed within the broader context of his legal proceedings. Some experts argue that incarcerated individuals often use letters like this to showcase remorse and rehabilitation, potentially aiming to influence judicial perceptions in future hearings. Others note that while expressions of regret are important, true accountability requires sustained behavioral change beyond mere words. Regardless of its legal implications, the letter undeniably highlights the complexities of Duggar's situation. It paints a picture of a man grappling with the consequences of his past, while striving to make amends and rebuild his life. Whether his efforts will ultimately be seen as genuine or performative remains a subject of debate, but for now, his words offer a rare and intimate look into the inner workings of his mind during one of the most challenging periods of his life. The release of Josh Duggar's letter has sparked a wide range of reactions from the public, media outlets, and advocacy groups. Social media platforms have been flooded with commentary, ranging from expressions of sympathy for Duggar's apparent efforts at rehabilitation to strong condemnation of what some view as a calculated attempt to manipulate public perception. Many critics argue that Duggar's words, while seemingly heartfelt, do not erase the gravity of his crimes or the lasting trauma inflicted on his victims. On the other hand, some supporters believe that his willingness to acknowledge his mistakes and work toward self-improvement deserves recognition. News organizations have extensively covered the letter, analyzing its content and potential legal implications. Some reports have highlighted Duggar's emphasis on maintaining family ties, suggesting that his desire to stay connected with his wife and children may serve as a genuine motivator for his rehabilitation. Others have scrutinized the language used in the letter, questioning whether certain phrases were carefully chosen to evoke empathy or minimize his culpability. Legal experts have weighed in on the possibility that Duggar's words could play a role in future court proceedings, particularly if they are referenced during parole hearings or legal appeals. Victims' rights advocates have been among the most vocal in responding to Duggar's letter. Many organizations have reiterated that while personal reflection and accountability are important, the primary focus should remain on supporting survivors and ensuring justice. Some have criticized Duggar's decision to submit the letter to the court, arguing that it shifts attention away from the victim in the ongoing civil lawsuit. Advocacy groups have also stressed that incarcerated individuals often engage in such communication strategies for legal or public relations purposes, rather than purely out of remorse. Within the Duggar family's fanbase, opinions remain divided. Some longtime followers of the family's reality TV journey have expressed support for Duggar's efforts to reform, believing that everyone deserves a chance at redemption. Others, however, have distanced themselves from the family, citing the irreversible harm caused by Duggar's actions. The letter has reignited discussions about the role of forgiveness, the limits of rehabilitation, and the ethical considerations of public figures seeking to rebuild their reputations after committing serious crimes. Ultimately, the widespread reaction to Duggar's letter underscores the complex and polarizing nature of his case. As the legal process unfolds, his words will continue to be dissected by the media, legal professionals, and the public, shaping the ongoing narrative surrounding his incarceration and future prospects. Beyond the immediate reactions and legal considerations, Josh Duggar's letter raises broader societal questions about accountability, rehabilitation, and the role of public perception in cases involving serious crimes. His words, whether sincere or strategic, highlight the tension between personal transformation and the enduring impact of past actions. The letter presents a paradox. On one hand, It showcases a man striving to take responsibility for his mistakes and rebuild his life. On the other, it serves as a reminder of the irreversible harm he caused. This duality is central to debates surrounding the justice system and the concept of redemption. Should individuals who commit grave offenses be given the opportunity to reintegrate into society? How does one balance the need for punishment with the possibility of change? Duggar's case exists in a space where these questions are particularly fraught, as his crimes involve the exploitation of children, a violation that evokes strong moral outrage and demands strict accountability. While his efforts at rehabilitation may indicate progress, they do not erase the suffering he inflicted, nor do they guarantee future safety. The letter also underscores the role of media and public opinion in shaping narratives around high-profile defendants. Duggar's history as a reality TV personality means that his words carry additional weight in the court of public opinion. His ability to articulate remorse and express a desire to reconnect with his family may resonate with some, particularly those who believe in second chances. However, others see such gestures as performative, designed to garner sympathy rather than demonstrate genuine reform. This divide reflects deeper societal disagreements about justice, mercy, and the extent to which individuals can truly change after committing unforgivable acts. As the legal proceedings continue, Duggar's words will undoubtedly remain a focal point of discussion. Whether they contribute to his eventual release or serve as a reminder of his past transgressions, they offer a rare glimpse into the mind of a man facing the consequences of his actions. Ultimately, his letter reinforces the complexity of human behavior, showing that even in the face of overwhelming wrongdoing, the pursuit of personal growth and connection can persist, even if it cannot fully undo the damage done.